Welcome back, family, to Northside LDN, and today we got a special guest. Eunice talks football. How you doing, Eunice?
I'm good, man. Been a minute since we last spoke, and yeah, I'm good personally. But last time we spoke, things were looking good on our end and not so good on your end, and now it's just shifted, isn't it?
Listen, our Arsenal season comes down to what we do in the January transfer window. I'll tell you that now. We started off very well, but I don't know if you saw the game yesterday against Zurich.
Yeah, I did. I watched it. I was paying attention. I had to.
You see the level?
I don't normally watch your Europa League games, but considering what's going on, I had to tune in yesterday, so I did. Yeah.
Well, that's it. You know, as soon as we start using the bench players like Nketiah, players like Fabio Vieira, Lokonga, El Nene, you start seeing the levels drop tremendously. So we really need to do something in January. It's the only way we're going to keep up with this momentum. And last season, it was a story of not doing nothing in January, getting rid of players, and then we fumbled getting top four. So, you know, hopefully the board and Arteta and Edu have learned from the past, but we will see. But listen, let's get straight on to Chelsea. Let's get on to Chelsea. We don't have you for very long today. Let's get straight into it. What is going on at Chelsea? Are you happy with the way the team's progressing under Graham Potter? Does the blame lie at Graham Potter's hands? Do you blame the owners? Do you think some players are not pulling their weight? What is going on at Chelsea?
Thing is, yeah, we don't know. That's the problem. Like right now, it's so hard to read. Like there's not just myself. I've spoken to a few of the others, and I've seen some of the comments, especially on my content. There's a sense of unpredictability. It's a confusing time. Like, is the team actually decent because we went on an unbeaten run with Graham Potter first coming in up until we lost to Brighton? Mm-hmm. Is that a good sign, or did that just paper over some cracks? You know, are we actually quite decent, and maybe Brighton was a blip, or did us dropping points against Brentford should not have happened? Maybe did United? Maybe that shouldn't have happened, and then we got battered to Brighton. Now we've got a test coming up, which is you guys, and then we've got Man City in the cup, and then we've got Newcastle coming up after that away, who are moving in silence. By the way, can I just say Newcastle? They're doing things brilliantly. It could be the real tests for Chelsea to see exactly where we stand, and then maybe we'll really understand where we are. I like to think that we've got quality. Graham Potter coming in and doing what he did immediately after how we were playing under Thomas Tuchel and how things were not looking so good. It felt like the ship was steered a bit, but the problems are still there. That's my understanding of it. The fact that we don't create as much as we need to. I feel like we're a little bit more direct under Potter, which is a good thing. But overall, in terms of the shape, in terms of team selection, that can shift really dramatically sometimes. You just get baffled as to why some players are in certain positions. Like, for example, the whole wing-back situation. Pulisic and Sterling at wing-back. And then we get told they're not actually playing wing-back. They're playing as wingers. So we're like, okay, the defense are basically... There's only 3 defenders on the pitch then. And then we lose 4-1 to Brighton. So there's that. There's some positives and then there's some negatives. We don't know where it's going. Right now, we don't know. And it's not a good time to play Arsenal, if I'm being completely honest. It's not a good time. So I'm a bit worried for Sunday.
Do you feel like it's a case of the style that he wants to play takes some time for the players to catch up to what the manager wants? You know, we've seen it also at Arsenal. Obviously, the way that Arteta wants Arsenal to play has taken a while. It didn't take a couple of months. It's taken a while. And maybe it's just some growing pains, or do you think it's individuals? Because Pulisic, I mean, I don't necessarily rate Pulisic. Sterling, you know, I think he started off his career so far okay, but there has been instances where he hasn't buried certain chances that's come his way, but that was always going to be the case. I mean, we saw that with Sterling at Man City, even with the abundance of chances that team creates for him. There was chances where you'd think, how did you miss that? You know, I think Gallagher's. What do you make of Gallagher coming back into the team? What do you make of Pulisic? What do you make of Mason Mount?
This is the thing. There's some players in the team that are good, but they're not complete. You know, and then when you look into the manager, for example, cool, there are certain things you turn to the manager, but then you look at some of the individualities, and some of the chances we miss. You know, some of the assists that just don't happen because we don't take the chance. Some of the final decision making that we lack, that decision to make in the final third, the last pass, the last shot. we tend to go wrong in those aspects. So when you look at a Pulisic, to be fair to him, since he's managed to make his way back into the team slowly, kind of, right, has actually been robbed of a couple of assists. I feel like has done better than what he used to do, but it's not enough. But it's not just him. Gallagher, for example, as you've already mentioned, decent lad, scored a crack against Palace. We remember that, but you see some of the things that he misses. And we saw that against Dynamo Zagreb, like absolute sitters, not being buried, trying to shoot from a 10-degree angle. It's just not going in, mate. What are you doing? You've got an option in the box. Those little things. Kai Havertz, for example, is just vanished. He's just, and he scores one goal, great, banger. But then you get that, it's like waiting for a bus that doesn't show up for an hour. It's just, you're waiting and waiting and waiting. That's the problem. We're not complete. There's many players that are good and they're decent, but they're not complete. And the way that we're trying to play, and I feel like with Graham Potter needs an entire team having to blend together. And I feel like at Brighton, he had that. And at Chelsea, there are holes, especially in our midfield. There's holes. And now we got injuries. It's not great. But even when we reckon things are looking all right and we've got players available, sometimes we don't create enough. When we do, we don't score. Sometimes our defense are open. At times when some defenders are having a bad game, like Thiago Silva, for example, who's super consistent. Last game he played, not last game, the game before, when we lost to Brighton, he looked all over the place. So it's constantly hit and miss, hit and miss, hit and miss. It's so inconsistent. That's the problem. It's inconsistency.
I've never seen Thiago Silva that bad, man. That was dreadful, bro. That was dreadful. You know what I mean? But the majority of the time, he's solid, isn't he?
He's solid. Yeah, 100%. And he's allowed a bad game, right? Yeah. But this is what I'm saying. When you don't have anyone else to compensate for you, which is sometimes what we lack, we rely, for example, on a Mason Mount, right? And then he has a bad game. That means we're screwed. There's no one else to take the game by the grasp. There's no one else that can step up. Or when they do, they only get the job half done. It's incomplete. It just feels incomplete. And as I said, sometimes we move the ball. We have some good actions. Maybe 3 times out of 10, we're looking dangerous. And then the other 7, it just goes begging. So whereas I look at Arsenal, for example, right now, and there's speed, they look dynamic, there's a blend, players are moving, they looked unpredictable. We look very predictable the way we move the ball. Arsenal, I feel like, have a lot of speed to their game that sometimes you can't even see where some players have moved. So you think he's there, he's not, he's there now. Been spotted, balls with him. They go on a charge, there's 5 or 6 men moving at the same time. Opposition gets rattled. Like, it's crazy how we're not actually capable of doing that yet. So Graham Potter is probably going to take time.
I think so. I think it's going to take time. I think what happened to you lot against Brighton, that's what you guys can look forward to if you trust the manager and give him some time. I mean, when you're looking at it in January, what kind of players you feel like Chelsea needs to target?
I mean, it's difficult because in January, you can't go out and just get the best. But in terms of position, we definitely need a right wing back or a right back urgently. Like Reece James is out. We have to rely on Azpilicueta. If it's not him, Loftus-Cheek goes to right wing back. That's all we got. We ain't got anyone else. So that needs addressing. Our midfield situation needs addressing. Although Dennis Zakaria finally got a chance and he looked really good against Zagreb. So maybe he plays on Sunday. Who knows? But it's still early to know how good he actually is. Maybe we have to address the midfield situation. A creative midfielder, perhaps someone that can actually be a good 10, the same way Arsenal have an Odegaard or a City have a De Bruyne or a Bernardo Silva. Someone in that role, which we lack. We just don't have anyone that's creative enough. Maybe that. But in January, to get the best of those sort of positions is really, really hard. So.
Fair enough. What do you make of Aubameyang? Obviously, Aubameyang's now at Chelsea. What have you made of his time at Chelsea, his short time at Chelsea so far?
He's been all right. He started off, I'd say, fairly decent. Kind of slipped off a little bit, but I'm not going to blame him in the same way I blamed Lukaku, for example, because he genuinely looks like he's actually moving. He's getting into good positions. He gets chances. Last game, for example, he had a nice cut in, hits the bar from a distance. Unlucky, right? Those sort of things are positive signs. The problem isn't just with him though. It's the whole dynamic in the way we move forward. Which is why you have to look to the manager, but he hasn't had enough time. So with Aubameyang, look, so far I don't have big complaints. In-game little complaints, yes, like how did you miss that? Why did you take an extra touch, an extra second? Little things. But overall, I feel like he's been decent. I beg and I hope, and this is the game I was looking forward to when he signed. I was like, I hope he rocks up and he scores against Arsenal. That would be the dream, right? But at that time, I wasn't expecting you lot to be top of the league. So we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Right now, he's just hoping and praying. You know what? How the tables
hoping and praying.
How the
It's insane. It's insane. I said this with Matisse, right? And Miz. For the first time in years, you guys are coming to the bridge as favourites.
That's true.
I'd say you're favourites, like hands down. And I've not had a sense of, I don't want to say fear. It's not fear, but caution. I have this massive urge of caution. I think for the first time since you lot were playing at Highbury. Honestly, it's like post Mourinho the first time, I've not been scared of Arsenal at all. This is the first time I'm looking at Arsenal and going, yo, they're dangerous. They're dangerous. They're dangerous. We have to be careful. Why? Because you lot have speed and the way that you move the ball is clear cut. You got players that seem to understand each other, especially Saka and Martinelli. And in terms of us on the wings right now, we're looking weak. So you saw the way Brighton split us open, constantly on the wings as well. Not so much down the middle, but on the wings, they were cutting us with through balls left, right, and centre. Saka and Martinelli, for example, are going to have that on another level, I believe. And that's what I'm worried of. I'm worried that you guys are going to be maybe just a bit too quick for us. And sometimes we can't keep up. If we struggled against Brighton, God forbid, against Arsenal, this is why we have to be switched on. There has to be a big amount of intensity. If not, we could be in trouble. But that's not saying we can't win. We can win, especially if we get an early goal. If the crowd are behind the team, if everything is looking good early, if it drags on, I think it could be a little bit messy.
What formation do you think your manager's going to go with on the weekend?
This goes back to your first question, mate. We don't know.
Do you know what it is, Eunice? Yeah, I can't lie. Everyone that doesn't know, we did last year. We were doing a weekly show. Me, Eunice, Goonie, and Lee Gunner.
Yeah.
And the smugness from these guys, yeah, when they were like, "Oh, we're gonna get Arab owners," they come in flicking the money, all that bukaria, yeah, chest up, yeah, chest was up, bro, like it was WWE. You know what I mean? Both of them coming in like the Dudley brothers, yeah, coming in, clowning us. And now look at him, I'm asking him questions. He's like, I don't know. I don't know. It's like a relationship that's breaking down. If you see Jeremy Carr, Ricky Lake, you know what I'm saying? The relationship is breaking down. Listen, you know me, I'm realistic. Yeah,
100%.
I'm having a little bit of banter because it's rare that I can have banter with a Chelsea fan, yeah, in current years. But it's lovely to see because at the end of the day, you guys have had it all and you've actually won it all. Even when I saw great Arsenal teams, I haven't seen us lift in Europe. You've seen your club literally win everything. So it's lovely. I can't lie to you. You know, I like you as a person, but your club, listen, it is what it is, isn't it? It is what I love it. I love the fact that you don't know who you're playing, who's your best 11, what's the best formation. Things are looking sideways. But I do think that universally, I think around football, all football fans were like, Graham Potter is a top manager. And I think you're just starting your process. I mean, that's the word everyone uses. You're just starting your process. And I think that there's going to be, you know, some rockiness. Do you think this new ownership is going to have the patience that your previous ownership didn't have?
This is the thing again. We don't know. Like we thought initially that they would come in and automatically they're going to have patience because they're not Roman. And we all remember the way Roman used to move. And then all of a sudden they get Thomas Tuchel what he wants. Couple of games, yeah, mate, you're sacked. And we're like, what? That's even more ruthless than Roman. Like, Roman would have sacked him at Christmas, not in September. You know? Like,
Give them a pay
Roman,
package for Christmas. There you go. Go get the kids some gifts.
that's exactly it. You know, Roman would have waited until we'd probably be about 12th, and then he'd be like, okay, look, I need to act. Like, this has gone on way too long. These men just rocked up and went, yeah, no, it's not working. Bye. And they got him what he wanted. Aubameyang played 50 minutes for Tuchel. That tells you everything you need to know. You know, so we don't know. We genuinely don't know whether Todd Bowley and these lot are patient, if they think Graham Potter is the answer, and that's why they've hired him, because he's their first hire. Or if they're going to act in the same way and go, look, it's not working. We've got money here. We need to make, we've got certain objectives. It's not being met. You're gone. We don't know. It could be. But
do you think it was personal between the ownership and Tuchel?
Yeah, it was. It was apparently, it was more, it wasn't to do, a lot of people think that it was to do with the 1-0 defeat to Zagreb. Decision was already made by that time. So it was a case of, I don't know if it stemmed from the whole Ronaldo thing, but there were things that Tuchel wanted that Todd Bowley and them lot didn't want, and vice versa. It just, they want different things. So it wasn't going to work. So they decided to just let him go. Whereas with Graham Potter, I believe that there's more of an understanding, and hence why I think he'll be given more time. But we don't know. It's unpredictable. The whole club right now is unpredictable. We just don't know. And going back to your question, in terms of this Sunday in the lineup, why I say I don't know and why we don't know, because we've normally played with a back three and the wing backs. Reece James is injured. Chilwell is injured. We can go Loftus-Cheek then and have the three centre-backs with the only centre-backs we've got, which is, you can say, Azpilicueta, Chalobah, Thiago Silva, maybe Koulibaly. Those are the four options that we can go to. Azpi's already picked up something, not too serious, but he's got a little knock. Does he play? If not, those are the only defenders we can play. Or we go to a back four. But if we go to a back four, we might leave ourselves open, because Azpi will probably have to play right back. We ain't got any other right back. So do we protect our defense and take away from our attack and go to a back three? Or do we go to a back four and take the risk of being completely exposed on Azpi's side with, I'm guessing, Martinelli, and Cucurella will have to go left back? We don't know. There's a whole debacle now about Zakaria. He had one good game against Zagreb. Does he play in the DM role? Do we go to a 4-3-3? Do we not? Does Jorginho keep his place? Does Kovacic return? Who's good up top? Are we sticking with Havertz? Are we not?
I don't know, man.
There's so many. I mean, even Sterling, for example, very inconsistent. Got a goal against Zagreb, but his performances overall not great. Do you play him? Do you not? Most likely will, but he played in midweek. Is fatigue going to kick in? There's so many questions. We don't know.
I don't like Chelsea in the back four. I'll be real with you. And Azpi, just like Alonso, the way that we saw for Barcelona, the legs are gone, man. The legs are finished. You know what I'm saying? You don't want him one-on-ones with Martinelli, man. Martinelli will cook him. I can't lie to you. He's going to cook him. You can't leave him exposed. This
is the thing. We all know that. So if he plays right back, for example, and he gets cooked, we're in trouble. But if he plays as a right wing back, that means Chalobah or someone needs to cover for him. He's going to get cooked. But we're taking away an attacker to put an extra defender, because we have to protect our defense, because you lot are lethal up top now, especially with Jesus and Saka and Martinelli and all those lot. Odegaard in the middle. We got a lot to think about when you guys are attacking. The ideal situation would be for us to try and keep as much of the ball as possible. But you guys are moving really well, and I think you're going to come with confidence. So back four, back three, it's risky either way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, maybe you might have to just you might have to just do a smash and grab, man. You know what I mean? Just do a smash and grab. When things ain't going your way, sometimes just leave all that attacking going forward. Just protect yourselves. I'll play with
but this is the thing. If we let you have the ball, I think we'll get destroyed.
You say that, but one thing I've seen about Arsenal, sometimes we have possession and we don't do much with that possession, or we're not clinical enough. Like, we've had Gabriel Jesus that hasn't been scoring in now 5-6 games. We've had some of our wingers, Saka and Martinelli are playing well, but it is what it is. They play well, but they don't score every single game. So you have Odegaard that sometimes turns up, sometimes doesn't. Sometimes he has a good first 45 minutes. The next 45 minutes he goes missing. Most of the time, Odegaard only scores against the smaller teams, not necessarily the traditional big six. I can't remember the last time he scored against the traditional big six. You've got Xhaka that is in good form, that could potentially score. He's doing very, very well this season. I can't lie. Even though I don't rate him, I think he's definitely performing to a better level, playing further forward. And if he does lose the ball, he loses it in the opposition's half instead of near our defenders and near our box. Thomas Partey has the ability to score. So, I mean, we do have a team that's got goals all around. But at the end of the day, I mean, what other option do you not really have? You don't have a cohesive attack. You might as well shore up defensively and just pray that your attack does the business, and, just keep spamming crosses in for Aubameyang. Because Aubameyang, I've always said it, even at Arsenal, if you give him service in the box, more times than not, he's going to score. So you do have an out-and-out striker there. Maybe drop Kai Havertz a little bit deeper, or maybe start Gallagher and Mount. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I don't know. You lot, it's a little bit, I don't know, man. It's a bit of a mess, man. And what's up with all the injuries as well? Chilwell, once again, what's going on with that?
I mean, I feel for him, because it's not just we've all seen like how a hamstring goes down. His hamstrings basically, well, I don't want to say it because we don't know, but it looked like it almost just came off the bone. He could not walk. Like that's a really, really bad injury. So there's talk that maybe he could be out for 8 to 12 weeks. Oof. So it's again, which is unfortunate, because he just come back from the ACL, and it's the second season in a row now we've got Reece James and Chilwell out at the same time for a long period. So it's concerning. It's concerning. And under Thomas Tuchel, or using the wing-back system, those are the guys that you need. If you don't have that, you can't play the wing-back system. You just can't. And this is why right now it's so hard and unpredictable to guess how we're going to play or what's best, because yes, sometimes we can go to that back 3/back 5, but who's the wing-backs? If we haven't got those players that can actually play there, we're just wasting positions, or we're leaving ourselves open. We go to a back 4 to try and compensate. We haven't done it enough. So it's concerning. And the amount of injuries that we get, I honestly don't know whether there's something going on with the medical department. I do know that right now we haven't got a medical director at the club, because the one that was there got fired. So Todd Bowley's been on a madness with all the sackings and trying to replace. So I don't know. Could it be the fact that the medical department are not doing as good as they should? Other players being overtrained? We've got quite a few injuries popping up now, left, right, and center. So we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, you also got to look at it in the sense that maybe you guys need to get some players that are a little bit more versatile. You look at Liverpool, as soon as you isolate Trent and don't allow him to keep spamming balls, they got no other creativity from other sides of the pitch. And maybe Chelsea need to look at, maybe obviously in January, got to wait to the transfer window to open and get some creative midfielders, because only relying on that system, like you said, now it's becoming a common routine that you have, Reece James and Chilwell always out, and then your creativity's gone. I mean, yeah, maybe you guys just need to build a more. I mean, it's not Potter's fault. He's only just come into this, so it's not really his fault. It's kind of one of them situations where it's like, he's just got to wait and see what he's going to do. But it is what it is, man. Before I let you go, what is your prediction for this weekend?
I didn't want that question. The only reason why is because I'm honest and I'm real, and I know that there's fans that have channels and whatnot, and they just for the sake of it say, "Oh yeah, no, we're gonna win," even if deep down they realize they're not. They're like, "Yeah, no, I've got to say that we're gonna win, so I'm going like 2-1 or 3-0 or 1-0 or something." I got to be real. I believe we can win. I'm going to go, look, if it finishes 2-2, I'd honestly be happy. I'd take a draw. Even though we have to win. This is a must win. We have to win. So I want to say that the lads are going to go out there and get it. But realistically, right now, Arsenal are looking really good. I wouldn't be surprised with a defeat, but I'd go with a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Okay. I'm going with 2-1. Eunice, man, cheer up, bro. Cheer up, man. Man got holiday.
Now you realize how it felt the other way, innit? Like last season. Do you remember?
The amount of times every week I'm seeing you and Gooney smug. These guys so smug, Adam. I swear that I wait to say every swear word to you in Portuguese that I know. I swear that I hate the smugness, bro. It was the thing is with you don't even say much. You just go like, listening to my pain. Listen, bro. It is what it is, man. Listen, just listen. I don't know, like just log off. As soon as I come off the channel, I don't even think about Arsenal. Like away from the channel, I don't really, because I just keep myself grounded.
100%.
You know,
I mean, what I do want to say, yeah, in terms of the league, it's not looking great. And if say, well, God forbid, say if we lost on Sunday, the Premier League table is not looking great at all for us. We'd probably go down maybe into 8th, maybe 9th. It could start getting a little bit mad, especially pre-World Cup. But what I do want to say is sometimes when we operate in chaos, surprises happen. So I'm not going to rule out a Champions League win in the midst of all of this chaos.
This guy, bro. This guy. You see what I'm saying?
It would be very Chelsea to finish 10th and end up champions of Europe again. It would be very Chelsea. So I'm just putting it out there now.
Thank you for that, for bringing that up, even though it wasn't necessary.
It's all I got. It's all I got.
I can't even say anything because it's kind of true. The squad that you lot had to win your first Champions League, I'm like, how the hell did they do that, man? You know what I'm saying? Even the second one, you lot actually do win Champions Leagues with not necessarily your best teams. You know what I'm saying? That is true. Nah, I don't even want to think about that. You know what? Let's wrap up. Right. People, make sure. Make sure I can't handle these man lifting another trophy, man. Now, come on, we need to win the league this year, man.
Hey, if you lot, just saying, whilst we're down, if you don't win on Sunday, you lot got issues.
Yeah, true. I'm going with a 2-1. Yeah, if we don't win, trust me, my match reaction is going to be heated. It's going to be real heated. I can't lie. You lot are there for the taking, man. Like, we've got to do the business. But people, make sure you like and subscribe to Eunice Talks Football. The link for his channel is in the description. It's in the title of the show. And Eunice, love for coming on, bro.
No problem at all, man. Thanks for having me on. And I want to wish you good luck on Sunday, but I don't. So good luck for the rest of the season, apart from Sunday.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is.
No, honestly, what I do want to end on is you lot have been looking really good. It's a shock. I didn't expect it. I don't know whether there's good things happening between Arteta, Edu, the players, the way the dynamics looking. I have to rate it. And I got to respect it. So fair play to you guys for how you've managed to start this season off. It's been brilliant. Yeah.
Hopefully we can keep it up, because if not, then yeah. negative North side's going to be
typical Arsenal.
Listen, people, like and subscribe to Eunice Talks Football, and we're out, caramba.